Thank you for staying with us on the AM show. And even as we kickstart our big stories, we want to share that hashtag with you. No to galamsey. No to galamsey. And that gets us into our very first subject. The special prosecutor is investigating public officials over alleged involvement. We'll be bringing you some details of that, as you can see in your shot. And that press release, illegal mining. The Office of the Special Prosecutor, as the statement says, has commenced investigations into suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses in respect of illegal small-scale mining. The investigation targets some officials of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and the Forestry Commission. It also targets the activities and expenditure of the dissolved Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, especially in respect of the seizure and management of excavators, machinery, road vehicles, and gold nuggets. The investigation includes the active and ongoing inquiry into allegations of use of public office for profit against Charles Bissiou during his tenure as secretary to the IMCIM, arising from an investigative documentary titled Galamsey Fraud Part 1, published by Tiger Eye PI. The investigation further targets the activities of Akonta Mining Limited and other companies, nationals of foreign countries allegedly involved in illegal mining, and allegations of corruption and corruption-related offenses against some municipal and district chief executives and political party officials. It is signed by the Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ajabing. Alrighty, so now you know, in case you hadn't seen it, those are the details, and quite a wide reach when it comes to those who are impacted, even those who have some clothed with political power who have been cited. And you know that in the recent times, we have the Western region situation where the regional minister, we're talking about a member of parliament, Takwan Suayem, we're also talking about the MCE, all pointed to when it comes to galamsey. They've been on air interacting with us and denouncing the claims, but we're fact-checking all of these to find out where exactly the culpability will lie. But joining us for this conversation, we have Edem Senanu. He's an anti-graft campaigner. And we also have Elizabeth Van, who is with the Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group. Also joining the conversation, Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. He is Director of Communications with the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. Lady, gentlemen, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Good morning for having us.
All right. So let's start with Edem. We're talking about the fight against graft, in this instance, galamsey, and no one needs to be told how it is despoiling our land, our water bodies, and everything else. But what do you make of this latest? It's not as though the OSP were now starting some of the investigations, like the Charles Bissiou one. It's been ongoing, but it's been put forth now. We have Akonta Mining and others in there. How do you assess this latest move by the special prosecutor?
Well, I think that this particular intervention is a critical one because of the players involved. Mind you, the president had put his presidency on the line in his initial comments, and yet we had seen many of his men fingered as part of this particular issue of galamsey and its impact on the environment.
Right.
And so you needed another entity, independent and objective enough to say, look, we're also looking at this, so that you're quite sure that any such persons who are walking the corridors of power and yet are involved in this and are trying to hide can be flushed out and also face the rigors of the law. So I find this intervention a very important one because it gives us much more confidence that any underhand dealings that have happened, and some of these names have already been in the public domain, but nothing has happened. As you said, some have even come out to completely say this is not true. However, the evidence that some investigative journalists and the rest have put out are compelling. So it is important. It's a very worthwhile intervention by the OSP, and we are delighted that they have come on board to take a look at this matter.
Elizabeth, for you, how enthused are you by this latest development, and what are you hoping to see emerge from it?
I'm glad, and thank you for the question. I am glad that the OSP has stepped in. My concern, though, is that normally when these things come up and it becomes, the news item of the day, we would have investigative body like the OSP would come in and say, we are investigating. We have the Accra, what is the name? The Forest Reserve in Accra, Achimota issue. We've had a few things like that. And eventually, once the cameras go and everyone goes to sleep, it looks like those things die a natural death. So my expectation is that this is not just to hush everyone and say, oh, let's wait for the investigation. It's under investigation. No, we are not going to let this stay at it's under investigation. I think there are a number of things like the Akunta mining issue that we need the police to intervene, even if the investigation is going to go on, because there is good evidence that there's been some criminality here, and the police have to be able to do their work, even as the special prosecutor does his investigation. We're excited for it, but it shouldn't be the be it and end all. We have to get to the bottom. Criminals need to be arrested, just like Agrada was arrested. A criminal has to be arrested, and then investigations can go on side by side. But this shouldn't shut us down. We have to keep on till we get to the end of it.
Interesting submissions there. I'll also take that of Abdul Razak Al Hassan in this regard. The fight against galamsey is on, and the hashtag is no to galamsey. But how do you assess, as someone who is in small-scale mining, you speak for this group, how do you assess this latest move by the special prosecutor? Abdul Razak, you would have to unmute for us, please. If you can hear me, Mr. Al Hassan, please unmute.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Better now. Please go ahead.
Good. It is a call in the right direction by the special prosecutor, but to me, it's even long overdue. Because if you look at the issues being cited, I think Charles Bisu is over years ago that we've had these things coming on, and Akonta is also part of these things, and all these allegations that are coming on. As a nation, we're supposed to investigate this thing and come out to a conclusion, so that we'll be very sure that these are the culprits who are going around doing things which are not good in the country. For example, Akonta one, for instance, I would have expected that there should be an arrest by now, because there are so many evidence all over. So it shouldn't be like, wait, let's do investigation. Whilst we are investigating, there should be an arrest, so that at least the name small-scale mining will not always be on the limelight. Always small-scale miners, but people that they are mentioning are all not small-scale miners. So if they are not small-scale miners, the investigation must come out so that we will know the right people or the people who are behind these illegal activities, and then we'll see the way forward. And it shouldn't be like a rhetoric. They will come, talk plenty. At the end of the day, we are investigating, and then that ends it. It shouldn't be put under any carpet. Let's investigate well. Let's come out with the results so that we know the culprits who are always behind these shameful activities.
Are you saying that you suspect there could be, I mean, this could be a 9-day wonder, we just put it out there and then we sweep it under the carpet? Is that what you're suggesting?
I wouldn't suggest, but it is something like a norm in this country. We hear many times that, oh, we are doing investigation, and before you realize, you will not hear anything about it. We can cite so many examples. Like I just told you, there are investigations which went on this Charles Bisu thing. Before we realized the thing went to, we don't even know where it ended. And then he came out claiming that they've cleared him. How does he come out to say they've cleared him? And now special prosecutor is bringing this issue back again. Somebody they've cleared. Why are they bringing it? So we need to understand, and they should come out clearly, follow due process, let the investigation go well, so that we'll know the culprits who are behind these illegal activities.
That's an interesting point you make, and I'll put that back to Elizabeth as well. Do you find it also curious? Because we know that in that instance, The Ghana Police Service, the CID, if I am not mistaken, cleared Charles Bissue of any wrongdoing. But here we are back in the fray. And many people, CSOs, individuals, media people, found that rather curious. Here we are again tackling the self-same issue. In recent times, Tiger IPI, Anas Arimeyaw Anas, has come out with a statement on that matter. Charles Bissue has responded to that with his own release. But do you find it curious that the special prosecutor is going back to that issue that supposedly had cleared Charles Bissue? I'll start with you, Elizabeth, and put that same question to Adam Sinan.
It is very, very curious. And like Mr. Al-Hassan said, there's a lot going on when it comes to the small-scale mining sector in this country that just isn't, it doesn't make any sense. And you can even see, you must be hiding under a rock to not see that there is a lot of cover-ups, there is a lot of things being done to just blow wind into the ordinary person's eyes so that whoever gets to benefit from this continues. And we can't keep fooling ourselves. This country has to get back on its 2 feet and look at what it has done about this whole process. We have seen on video somebody taking a bribe, and it wasn't like some small thing. It was a full-on investigative process that the president himself had said, this is how I am going to get rid of corruption in this country. And when this thing came out, there were this back and forth here and there, and then it just vanished out of the public's view. For this man to come back again and then claim he's been cleared, and then we are back to now the special prosecutor looking into it. It's a laughing stock. And so he now that he's coming, we expect things to be laid out. We shouldn't be hiding, we shouldn't be covering up criminals, because then we are not going to solve this problem. But this is an existential problem that we face. Every time that it's come up, it's been worse than before. And if we keep on doing this, we'll get to a point where we will not be able to reverse any of these. I'm sure we've even gotten to that stage. So we shouldn't keep fooling ourselves, and officialdom shouldn't think that they are fooling us, because at the end of the day, it's Ghana. We all have only one country. And if we keep doing this, there'll be no one left at some point. We have to come clean, be really committed to getting to the bottom of these things, and keep away the criminals in our midst if we want to save our country.
Do you ever get that feeling that those in authority, the powers that be, feel they can fleece us, deceive us? I mean, from the rhetoric, from what you're saying, do you get the impression sometimes that the attempt is made to pour sand in our eyes, so to speak, just to ensure that we don't see the right things?
Oh, I think right now there is no attempt even to pretend. They know they are fooling us, and we know they are fooling us, because you can see it all around. When you go to Sam Report right now, the people, the people who stood up for their community, they are in hiding because they are the ones that the local police is after. Okay, the criminals that invaded their place and then took over and made their lives miserable are still walking about very, very confidently. Now look at Agrada. Okay, this woman, whatever crime she's committed, only affects the people who let themselves be scammed. She has been arrested by the police. So if you look at the two crimes, which one has a more intergenerational impact? So you can see that where officialdom is involved, there is every attempt made to make everyone seem like nothing matters. And then when the least things, that's what they run after. So you can see when it comes to small-scale sector, there is a lot of attempt at every level to make us, the population, look like we don't know what we're about. And this is why I make a plea to everybody in authority in this country, the IGP, the very Minerals Commission, everybody. This is an existential threat. So don't be worried about, oh, you're going to lose your job or you're going to be transferred. Do it like you're doing it to save your own self and your future, because that's where we are at this point.
Where we are at this point. Let me bring in Adam Senanu. So your quick take, the level of curiosity, do you find it very odd that we've ended up here? We're going back to the Charles Bissiou and other matters outstanding. We'll get into the others. How curious is it that we've ended up here? And do you share the sentiments of Elizabeth when it comes to the will of those who walk the corridors of power in terms of bringing to bear what must be done?
Thank you. I think that my favorite quote from Elizabeth is, officialdom think that they are fooling us. They think that they are fooling us. They're fooling nobody. I mean, we can all see exactly what is going on. And let nobody think that coming and posturing on TV or on radio and saying I didn't do anything after we've all seen the video clips, you are convincing any Ghanaian. You are not. I think the only thing is that how angry have Ghanaians been to respond to this collectively? And hopefully we are getting to that point because we understand the implications for the future. It is absolutely telling that after all these groups, these other institutions of state have said that they've investigated and cleared the man, the Office of the Special Prosecutor says, we are going back to that issue. And the way the office works, unless you have sufficient credible evidence, which you think you can get to court and get some kind of ruling on, they're unlikely to stick out their necks. With the background to Mr. Martin Amido's performance, the number of times he went to court and, the cases didn't go too well. That office is now very careful before it takes up issues. They do quite a bit of background work. So in my mind, they obviously know that they have their foot on a stone when it comes to this issue. And for that reason, all of us need to keep our eyes on them, to keep reminding them we want to hear the final conclusion of the matter eventually. Let the Charles Bissious of this nation and others continue to posture, but let the rigors of the law take effect so that we can't have people just thinking that they can rape this nation, ruin the environment, and get away with it. I think this is a very important issue that the OSP has taken up.
Now, looking at the number of people that he cites in here, he's talking about Akonta mining as well. Elizabeth, we've spoken about Akonta mining and what role they have played in the Nimri Forest, the Samre Boy area, how they should not have gone. In fact, courtesy of Abdul Malik Kwekubaku, we've looked at the trajectory of what happened and how they should not be in the forest reserve in the first place, but they have been there. Then there are others, individuals, foreigners who are dabbling in galamsey when in fact they have no business being in that. Then we have political actors as well. For you, is this the scope? Is it too big? I'm looking at it from the standpoint of there are so many people involved. And even on the issue of Charles Bissiou, Ekwewusi, we didn't get anywhere. Is the scope not too wide, Elizabeth? Before I go back to Abdul Razak.
Well, I was even wondering why the Minerals Commission wasn't included. The scope, well, he's bitten what we expect him to be able to chew. Again, what we need to keep in mind is to make sure that this isn't sand thrown in our eyes so that we can all cool off and wait thinking that something is being done. The OSP, we are looking up to what he's coming up with. I don't expect him to have cast this wide net if he wasn't sure of what he's covering. But again, we need to be focused. We need to stay on top of this and continue to get the IGP, whether if he's asleep, he must be waking up now, because even yesterday's part 2 of Erastus's documentary, it must wake even a dead person up. So the IGP should be up and also start doing his part. The OSP can continue with what he's doing. I expect he will get all the resources he needs to get to the bottom of it. Even the Minerals Commission, a lot is happening there as well. So this thing to be investigated can take a whole amount of time. He needs to make sure that he's up to the game, and he shouldn't think that this is just going to be a way for some of us to go to sleep. We are not. We're going to stay on this thing until we have a good reason to believe that our forests and our rivers are safe and our people are.
Abdulrazak, for you, when you look at the scope, is it satisfactory for you, looking at the people that have been targeted, not just individuals, organizations as well, and some of these even being looked at retrospectively? Are you satisfied with the scope, or what else do you feel that the OSP should be targeting?
My brother, I think it's very wide, and the office job, I will not sit here and then determine what they should do. But if you look at the scope, how they've widened it, I think they know what they are about, and they are ready to tackle the issue. Like my sister said, I think there should be more resources available for them to do this investigation to the latter. Because if you look at Akonta mining and those, if you look at the government, the slogan they brought about this no-go areas, like forest reserves, water bodies, and those things, it was a slogan which they brought. And if it is a no-go area, and people decided to get into that same forest, whereby we're having forest guard, we have forestry commission and those things, it is a cause to worry. So we are hoping, as an association, as small-scale miners, that Special Prosecutor would do diligently and make sure that all the corporates behind these things will be named and shamed, and even prosecute them and make sure that those who are supposed to go to jail should go. So though the scope is wide, but we can trust the Special Prosecutor that he knows what he's doing. That's why he opened up this wide investigation. And we are hoping that things will come up better, and then the nation will know the destroyers of this country.
How interested are you? And you've had cause time and again to mention that you are unfairly targeted, you the small-scale miners, because everything is painted with the same brush of illegal mining, small-scale mining. How do you feel about some of the issues that have been brought up? Akonta mining, for example, they are not supposed to be doing what they are doing on a large scale like they are doing it, but they are. Does that feed into the problem that is created for you, the small scale miners? What are your expectations on Akonta mining, for example, specifically?
Yeah, thank you, my brother. I think as time goes on, always we've been raising this issue. When we are tackling mining, it should be mining in general. But when we specify small-scale miners, small-scale mining, Akonta mining, for instance, let's go to Minerals Commission, the ministry, and everywhere. They are not small-scale miners. And this distraction which went on, people still brand small-scale, that, oh, small-scale illegal mining, small-scale illegal mining. Meanwhile, the concessions given are all large-scale people. So the name small scale should be exempted. And if we are tackling illegal mining, it should be illegal mining in general. Whether you are small, you are medium, you are large, if you are doing illegalities, the law must take its own course. So Akonta mining, we as an association, we thought and believe that by now somebody must be on remand. But till date, we are not hearing anything. So our name, the tag of our name, we are uncomfortable with it as small-scale miners because we are businessmen who are residents in this country, and small-scale mining is meant for only and only Ghanaians. So if you look at Akonta mining, the people they went to meet and do things, there are so much foreigners among them, and all the foreigners who are part of this game, they are not supposed to be in our sector. So always mention our name as small-scale miners, tagging us as if we are the destroyers. I think the names are coming out. And as soon as possible, there are more which are yet to come. Akonta is just one of them. And the government should act now for us to know that, yes, the small-scale miners, they are not the destroyers or the destructors, but rather there are big wigs who are behind all these things.
Adam, there are some names that are not on this list so far, names that we just got wind of in recent times. And we're talking about those cited by the Dompim Pepesa chief, that is Nana Penyin IV. I'm talking about the Western Regional Minister, that is Kwabena Ochre Dako Mensah. There's also Takwa Nsuayim, Member of Parliament Mireku Duker, who is also a Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and MCE Benjamin Kessie. Now, according to this chief, and all three of them have disputed the fact that he is a chief, but it appears the people in the community also have some affinity for him. He makes mention of the fact that he is trying everything, even at the threat of his own life, to prevent the sort of degradation that is happening in his community, Takwa and Swahim, and actually points to three crucial people who should be, fighting this. The DCE, the MCE, who should be in charge of the MUSEC. We're talking about the Member of Parliament, and we're talking about the regional minister who would be in charge of the RegSec. How curious is that? And I'm sure you've heard the reactions from them. What is your positioning on this so far?
Well, the truth of the matter is that when we have such feedback, the conflicting, statements from different parties only point to the fact that one needs further and better particulars and that adequate investigation should be done. I was going to put a question to you about why we don't have the Ghana Police Service here to ask them what is the progress on this Akonta, why has anyone been arrested? And I think it's the same kind of approach we should take on these issues. Who are the duty bearers? If the regional minister, let's get the regional minister online right here now. Ask him, you are in charge of RegSec. What has happened? Why did this situation come up? So that we are not dealing with speculative information or one person's opinion, but we can draw some objective conclusions on these matters, especially because we know how very dangerous what is going on is to all of us. So my take simply is that at this point, we need further and better particulars. Ideally, can we get the police to respond to what is going on? Has anyone bothered to investigate? Because these are matters that clearly are criminal in nature, and we should be able to ask the questions as citizens of the country.
For you, Elizabeth Va, what is your take on that?
That's exactly what my brother who just spoke has said. We need the people who have been mentioned here talking to us about their role in this. Look, these people are powerful. When you go to the local government level, the regional minister, the MCE, and it happened to be that the MP for the area is also the deputy minister for lands and minerals resources. So you cannot bypass these three people and get anything done down there. So for this to be happening in this man's own backyard, and it has continued to go on. We've kept an eye on Bonsa and Nui for as many months as possible. There are people there are key members within my team that are always keeping an eye on that place, and nothing changes. It gets worse and worse and worse, even as the deputy minister runs about from one place to the other, trying to go put out fires at other places. Physician, heal thyself. So if this man really isn't somehow connected to what's going on there, I'm sure things would have happened so far. So like my brother said, we are not here to conjecture. Get the right people and get the police. They have been missing in action where it matters most. They have to be they have to tell us what they are doing and why they seem so powerless in some instances.
Before we wrap with what the OSP says and what the way forward would be, I'd also like us to look at a quick a document that came out emerging that, of course, from the Attorney General's Department, prosecution of illegal mining cases in the Eastern region. That is what it's titled, and it talks about 187 persons jailed in the Eastern region since 2017. I'll just run some details of that by you, and it talks about how 187 people charged in 48 cases have been convicted and sentenced to various terms of imprisonment in the Eastern region since 2017. And the AG notes that the 187 convicted persons include 29 Nigerians, 7 Nigerians, and 3 Chinese. And a majority of the accused persons were tried and sentenced under the old Section 99 of the Minerals and Mining Act. Of course, there's a new act which would give them stiffer penalties in that respect. And it talks about 33 of such persons convicted and sentenced under the old act that the AG wants to be sentenced under the new Act. It goes on and on. But at least, does this give some comfort that something, at least, has been done in the fight against galamsey, and that there's only a little more that we need to do to push it further and maybe get the results that we need? Back to you, Elizabeth, then I'll go to Adam and before Abdul.
Unfortunately, no. Because we even have a question pending with the the immigration, the police, and also the interior minister regarding how many of the people they claim to have arrested, the foreigners especially. And this is as a result of the investigation that the Fourth Estate did that showed that there were only 2 or 3 Chinese in our jails who have been convicted of galamsey offenses. Now, just yesterday, I took a look at the AMSIM's website, and you can see how many Chinese they paraded as having arrested for engaging in illegal mining. And if at the end of the day, we only have these 3 in our jails, when the law says that when you catch these foreigners, they have to serve their sentence between 20 and 25 years before they are sent out, we have that question pending. And let me use your medium to remind the minority leader. He promised us that he was going to raise a question in Parliament to the Interior Minister to provide all the information we had asked for. We are waiting on him because we are almost mid-October. We can't just, sprinkle some things around, pretend to be doing something. If we are doing something, let's do it right and get to the bottom of this. We have to keep our eye on the ball. And we need the people who are in charge to be up and doing. A lot is going on. Let me put in quickly, even with the legal mining, right? People get the license in Accra and they go to our communities. There are people whose pension is their cocoa farms. And these things are being cut off. They go to the police, especially if the people involved are like perceived big people. These people talk to the police and they don't get anything. They just give them a little bit of money and their lifeline is cut off. We are creating a lot of destitutes in our own communities, people who were once self-sufficient. We have made life very, very miserable for them. Just because somebody wants to mine and have a lot of money, we are creating apartheid in our own country, and the Minerals Commission especially has to be up and doing. We need all these people to be up and doing. And if they cannot properly police the people they give licenses to, then they should halt on giving licenses for now. Let's get the full cost. Let's get to the full cost of our mining and how our own people are suffering just so that a few people become rich. We can't keep on like this.
Adam, quick thoughts. Elizabeth suggests that on the back of all of this, it is apartheid. And I find that telling that we're bringing into our country. Quick reactions?
Yes, I think she gives a very detailed description of what is going on. I think that some people appear insulated from the reality on the ground. And it's a greedy few, power-broking persons who have influence, who are taking advantage of the underprivileged and the poor, are not recognizing that many more people fall into that category. And so there are many people being affected by their direct actions. And clearly, if we don't get to a point where we stop this, the downhill drive will be such that all of us end up in a pit. And so at this point, I want to support my sister's call, especially when she talked about how if the report you are saying says 3 Chinese in jail, when we've seen all the parades, let's have people answering questions. And please use your good platform. Let's get this minister, especially that deputy minister, and get the police all on the same platform and get our civil society there so we can query them as to what they think they are doing and why they should not immediately resign. This is what happens in other jurisdictions. When you have been associated with these things and it is clear that you've not been able to manage the process, or you've been put there to do it on behalf of the citizens, you resign. So what are they still doing in office?
Good question. Abdul Razak, I'll take your final comments, in fact, the final comments of all of you, but I'll also give room for quick thoughts on the seizure and management of excavators, machinery, road vehicles, and gold nuggets, as the special prosecutor puts it. What are your expectations? Over to you, Mr. Al-Hassan.
Thank you very much, my brother. I think it's a good call, and we are waiting to see, like I earlier said, all these things must come to bear so that we know where these excavators are, these nuggets and those things that, especially anytime that they go to destroy or they use the word demobilize. I don't think that you go to a site whereby you go and have excavators there and miners there, that you go and do this burning and those things, and none has ever shown us the gold that they've taken there, the money they've received there, and there are so many questions. Even back to the IG's point, for instance, they should clarify, because only 3 Chinese is very appalling, and apart from that, who the people they've jailed, how many of them are Ghanaians, and even among the Ghanaians, how many are the financiers? Because let us look at the scope and the people that we arrest, whether they are just mere Ghanaian boys or girls who goes to find out their daily bread and those things. Who are the people behind it? Are they able to arrest them? Are they able to jail them? We need to know all these things. There are so many questions. The police must come out to let us know the type of arrest they'll be making. So we are hoping that we'll have a good result and to clear some of our names as small-scale miners. We are hoping.
All right, you're hopeful. Elizabeth and Adam, I'll give you 20 seconds each. I mean, we've got the thrust of what you're saying. Final words. I'll start with you, Elizabeth.
Yes, my appeal here is to the board chair of the Minerals Commission. I had the name, but I forgot. Madam, I know you are a woman, you're a wife, probably a wife, a mother and a grandmother. There are so many women our age in the rural communities whose husbands left them with cocoa as their whatever inheritance or whatever that they are using to take care of themselves. Some are widows, and their children and their grandchildren. The people that when you sit in Accra and you make that mark, such that 100 or 50 acres of Summer Boy has been given to Akunta Mining, when those people go, they go and take over those areas, cocoa farms there. They quote them some meager amount of money, give to them, and their inheritance is gone forever. Cocoa lasts 70 years. They are gone forever. These people become destitute. In this modern Ghana, the city, you can't pay anybody for a cocoa tree for whatever money. It will be useless in no time. So these people are calling on you to do the right thing. Let's put a pause on any new licenses, and let's get to the bottom of this, get a hold of those people who are suffering and get them out of their suffering before we get back to this, even the legal side of the mining. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Adam, you have the final bite in some 20 seconds, if you can.
My call is to the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Dampari, on behalf of the good people of Ghana. This country deserves swift and robust actions in relation to the fight against galamsey. We want to know from you, want to hear your voice about the actions being taken immediately to address this issue. We don't expect something that will come after 2 months. We think that this issue is so key that not hearing your voice now is a major detriment to our collective fight against this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Abdul Razak Al-Hassan is Director of Communications, Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. Edem Senano is an anti-graft campaigner. And of course, we had Elizabeth Va, Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group member. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Don't you forget, the question we're posing to you today, that's our question of the day. Do you think Ghana, our government, has shown commitment towards winning the fight against illegal mining? Do you think so? Share with us, Joy News on TV, and let us know what your thoughts are. When we activate the phone lines as well, you can be sure to call. But up next, tied to that conversation, we have an interaction with the Member of Parliament for Takwa Nsuayim, who also happens to be Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. I'm talking about George Mireku Duker. He joins my colleague Samuel Kojo Brace as they dig further into this matter.
So there are a lot of issues about illegal mining especially in the Western region in Swahim, Takwan Swahim, where you are the member of parliament. And your name seems to be up, in throughout the discussion. Why are you allowing illegal mining to go on in your constituency?
Let me first of all indicate clearly that Mireku Duker has never mined, and I don't own a single concession at all. I represent miners in the Parliament of the Republic. My constituents, about 90% of them have either direct or indirect impact of mining. And therefore, anything in relation to mining, obviously, they would contact or mention Mireku Duker if they are arrested or having any negativity as far as mining is concerned. If you even look at the enclave itself, you realize that it's the area that we have consistently been using the military and the police on getting this recalcitrant arrested. And don't forget that it's the heart of gold, because about 60% of gold produced in this country is coming from that enclave alone. And obviously, you realize that gold activities there are very, very predominant. Obviously, you have people who would also want to, in a way, just push you to derail from what you're doing. They know we're working hard to clamp down these illegal miners everywhere. We go, don't sleep, making sure that our river bodies get better, making sure that people mine and mine responsibly, making sure that we put a lot of measures in place to really regularize the mining sector. This is something that is catching the eye of Ghanaians. Obviously, as a politician, as a member of parliament, you have your detractors issuing unnecessary statements here and there, making comments that are very uncalled for, like the chief, the supposed chief you spoke to. He's not a chief in the first place. We don't know him as a chief, and he has a kind of a way of, in a way, discrediting Mireku Duker. He started this about 2018, 2019, thereabout, and led the campaign of the independent candidate in my hometown, discrediting me here. And so no wonder he's continue on that tangent. But I can tell you he's a confused being. He's not a chief. The chief has spoken and he set the record right. Just recently, a team from Accra, police numbering about 100, were detailed to dump him. They made arrests. Some Chinese people were arrested. Even an assemblyman was arrested and he's in custody as I speak with you. The regional minister has been embarking on very, serious operations there. They've been arresting people. And the behavior of galamseyers. You arrest them, some will come back and all that. I am in Accra. I am also supervising other areas, including dumping though. But I wouldn't know what's going on there. We have the EPA, we have the Minerals Commission office, we have the MC there. We have other opinion leaders there, and I believe they must also be up to the task and be making sure that people who get to the forest or any place that is uncalled for are arrested. Let me also put it on record that we have people who are also mining responsibly in that enclave. We have people who own concessions that are mining responsibly, and you cannot just put everything together and say they are all illegal miners. And I'm not going to lose focus. I'm so determined. We'll continue to clamp down these miners or illegal miners who are so determined to destroy our country. I mean, we can't allow this nation wreckers to just put up statements just to confuse everybody. Now they just want to demoralize you. You are working hard. You want to make sure water bodies are clean. You want to make sure people get work to do, like establishing community mining. Obviously, become a target. You're doing the right thing, and people will come after you, including intra and other related political innuendos that you have in the system. They will all come after you, but God is on our side, and we are so determined. We have nothing to hide. Galamsey is not done in the chamber. It's done in open. If Mireku Duker has a concession, be on the concession, show the public where the concession is. I started challenging people about 6 years ago that if you think Mireku Duker has a concession and you have that evidence, show it to Ghanaians. You can't just speculate. He's a minor. As for that, you can easily say so. So if the IGP, for example, is from a community and robbery happens in that community, and because it's an IGP, so nobody should steal from that community. I mean, it may happen. It doesn't matter where he's from. It can. So if Mireku Duker is the deputy minister and illegal mining has happened in his hometown, so therefore you think, I mean, let's be realistic, and some of these things, discuss them dispassionately, moving out of politics. You go to other areas that people of high repute hail from. You have illegal mining there. It doesn't mean you can just associate those illegal mining to them. You see, the galamseyers, they do flourish in some of these things because they know that, yes, they are pointing fingers at the leaders. So they get a field day to do their own thing. If we don't stop that, we will not be able to win this battle. We need to stop that. Let's be practical. Let's get to work. Let's really point to where the challenges are and stop the accusations that are unfounded. If you're accusing someone, you must have that evidence. I was surprised to hear that there's a documentary. Not a shred of evidence was shown. How can you do this?
But the people in the documentary mentioned that you are in support of what they're doing. The boys there, you have boys who are mining.
So those that have been mentioned, we need to provide the opportune assembly for them to come and prove. So I think they should have been pushed. What is the concession? Where is he mining? I mean, you get there and you show all that. But people speculating that he's mining, as a member of parliament, obviously you have people who are against you. I mean, they organize the chief, the said chief that you're talking of, organized the press conference, during 2020 electioneering campaign, openly supporting an independent candidate, lambasted me and all that. So what will you expect such a person to say about Mireku Duker? Now that, and even during my appointment, he wrote some letters, frivolous letters to the president that I don't even deserve to be given the appointment. This game, I mean, people just behave anyhow, just wanting to discredit you and defame you. But God has always been on our side because we have a clean heart. We're ready to work and serve our country. We'll continue to do so and continue to have. I get disturbed when people destroy our environment. I'm an environmentalist as well, and I don't gain anything from getting our environment destroyed. Why would I even get my own hometown where I used to be the chief? I abdicated my stool just to allow me to contest as a member of parliament and just destroy my environment. How would you do that for a moment? And my people trust me. They know what I can do. They know my faith and commitment towards the developmental projects or developmental future of the community. So they know I wouldn't do anything to destroy the image of the community. And as for other detractors who will foment all other stories just to, in a way, cause some disaffection for Mireku Duker, they will continue. I mean, you can't stop them, but
so what you're saying
evidence
is
is the spirit
the name of it.
game.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that none of your boys are involved in this because there will be some truth in every rumor, and the rumors are just right. Mireku Duker is involved in galamsey.
You see, when you commissioning, like I saw somebody saying Akon community mining is for Mireku Duker. How can you say so? I commissioned the community mining. It's employed about 4,000 Ghanaians. You can go there and see. And you speculate that it's for Mireku Duker. How can you say so? A community mining that was commissioned with the chiefs and people of the area, the youth were there, the security agencies were there, and he said it is for me. I wish I could have such responsible mining concessions to take on Ghanaians. Because if a concession could employ 4,000, if we have about 10 of those, how many people are we talking of? I wish I could have that capacity to do that, But that is not the truth. The truth is, government has rolled out community mining concept. We're going all out, and we may even open more in Takwa because we have more concessions that could take on board more youth to work. And let me also put it on record that mining is not illegal. We have people who mine and mine responsibly, and we shouldn't just put everything together as if mining is a crime. No, you can search and see how people are making impact as far as the economy is concerned, the gold inflows are concerned.
So for your concession, responsible mining is done there.
That is, I have never owned a concession. I don't own a concession, and have never assigned Mireku Duker to any concession. I mean, we have community mining concessions all over the country. The hope is to have about 50 of those by the end of this year. And we intend to open more. And if people are tagging Mireku Duker to all the community mining that the ministry or the government is opening, so be it. But I am happy to lead that course of making sure that we open responsible mining concessions for Ghanaians to mine.
Your name might not be on a concession, but you might have interest in some concessions in Takwa or anywhere in Ghana. Which of them do you have interest in? And is the mining there responsible or irresponsible? Like
my interest is to make sure that we regularize the mining sector in this country. We make sure people mine responsibly. That is my interest. That people move out of our river bodies, people move out of our forest reserves. Make sure you secure a concession or license before you mine. And when you are mining, you follow all the protocols to mine. And I don't have any interest of obtaining or getting any license to mine. Mine is to regulate the mining for people to have a future in this country.
But the people say that the fight against galamsey has not been won because you and your fellow politicians own concessions, and that's why we are not being successful. What do you say to those who believe that the point that you and your other politicians have invested in the industry, that's why we are not winning?
That is very unfortunate because let me say that if you want to mine a specific community and the community say, no, we don't want to mine, you don't want you to mine, you can't mine. So it wouldn't be enough to say that politicians are leading it. So, and galamseyers, they get excited when they hear some of these things. So they know that your focus is disjointed. They know that you are not really aiming at them, and they will also formulate and put stories on you just to confuse you so that they can get a field day. Those things I know are to be expected. They know you're working hard, so let's foment and create some stories around you. But I'm telling you, if a politician is behind something illegal, as a ministry, as a government, who wouldn't mind the sort of political, color the person belongs to? Like what happened to Extra Gold, where people thought that a woman who is part of our party, is kind of part of management, and that we're going to consider. We didn't consider. Machines were decommissioned and all that. Talk of Akonta, we didn't, consider any political coloration, make sure that things are done right. So
after he had destroyed the environment.
You see, some of these things, why do you even zoom in straight away to the ministry? That is why we have officers on the ground. That's why we're beefing up or retooling the inspector division of the ministry and of the Minerals Commission to make sure they also get to the field and work and make sure things are done right. Secondly, the disturbing note is where people also go behind us to say, oh no, they don't know what they are doing. When you give us the power who will allow you to mine. Very, very disturbing, where, like a former president issues a statement that I will make sure those who are jailed as a result of their irresponsibilities in mining, will get them released out of it. Emboldens them. Some of these things, in a way, create some kind of confusion in the field of trying to reorganize or regularize the mining sector. So I will urge Ghanaians, let's stay resolute, monitor where you are, make sure you protect the river flow within your enclave. We procured speedboats, giving the Naval Command some kind of support to patrol from source to the end. We've recruited river wardens who will be patrolling the river bodies 24/7. We empowering them with body cam, where they will be tracked and monitored at the center. We're also tracking all earth moving machines that could in a way reduce the illegalities in the system. So if as an excavator, for example, is tracked and you go beyond the confines of your legal concession, it is deactivated.